Hey everyone, welcome to the Degenerate Football Podcast, episode number 2 of the great podcast that we were going to do every single week. I'm RJ Choppy. This is my boy Bo from the Football Glory Hole. Last week, good week. 6-4-1. That's 60% for you math majors out there. And Bo and the guys were 15-10, which 60%. Is 60% for you math guys. I needed a confirmation on that one. So I'm not a math guy at all. But that's the key. You want to get above about 53%. And we both did that for 2 straight weeks. Last week, 6-4-1, and then prior to that, we were 6-2, and these guys were like 18-5. Just absolutely crushing it right now. If you're not following this, you're just losing money because we're printing money over here.
Printing it.
So we got some selections for you today. Of course, you can check us out on Twitter. I'm at RJ Choppy, and you are at
FBall Glory Hole.
All right. So here's what we got today. We'll just start out right here in college football. It was a complete backdoor cover last week. A&M against Clemson. A&M covering with 6 seconds to go. That was a late addition for myself. I was very, very happy that I took that. I would not feel good about that thing at all. But you guys like Clemson this week against Syracuse.
We do like Clemson this week. Clemson is laying 28 points at Syracuse.
That's so many points.
It's a lot of points. I know everybody's going to remember the game last year.
Yeah.
Syracuse in Clemson. Clemson had to come all the way back to win that thing 28-3 at the very end of it. But Clemson's not going to let that happen again. They've got that square in their memory, and there's a couple things in this game. First of all, Syracuse started off the season a little bit overrated by everybody, including ourselves. They lost 63-20 last week against Maryland, which we had that, right? Maryland -1.5. That's one of our wins last week.
Right, there you go.
So hit that one just a little bit. So, but you think about the overratedness of where Syracuse is at, and then I want to stop and talk about for a second the dominance that Clemson has been on in this run.
Defensively, they're amazing.
So since 2011, which that was the first year that Dabo started, had a 10-win season, started his first of 3 straight 10-win seasons, they are 12th in the nation against the spread. That's 56.2%, right? You might not think, 12th in the nation, well, they're a great team, that's not very good, but you got to remember, RJ, how expensive they are to buy. Just like this week, we're having to lay 28 points just to buy them. That's expensive.
Yeah, so just about every week, because they don't play in the SEC, and I'm an SEC homer.
Right.
So every week they're like 22, 24,
right.
17. I mean, they've got high numbers. I mean, Alabama's the same way. They got high numbers all the time, too.
So if you want, just great comparison right there to Alabama, but here's the difference. So Clemson, like I said, is 12th in the nation against the spread since 2011. Would you like to know how many other teams in the top 40 since that time, in the top 40 against the spread, have won a national championship? In other words, they would be pretty much equally as expensive week to week on average.
In the last how many years?
Since 2011. How many other teams have signed Clemson?
That'd be 0.
1. LSU at 22. Not another team, not even Alabama's in the top 40 against the spread since 2011. So that tells you the level of that is like Belichickian dominance of college football. Not only do they win, of course they win, they're Clemson, they're awesome.
Yeah.
But they cover these expensive numbers week after week after week.
They win,
is incredible.
And they embarrass you. So you like Clemson -28. It's on the road. It's in Syracuse at the Carrier Dome. I am going to go with USC -4 against BYU. I'm going to do this for 2 reasons. One, I'm mad that BYU beat my Volunteers last week. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I'm really happy because I want the coach out of there. But 2, this is a pure talent issue. USC beat the pants off of Stanford last week. Okay? USC, talent-wise, and BYU are not even on the same field. They're just not. USC, even though they're not a very good team, they're not a great team anymore. They're not the old USC. They still get players. They still roll players in there. And BYU coming off a game where they got to travel cross country back to it. Again, how big of a deal is that? Probably not a big deal, but only laying 4 points for USC. I like USC in this one.
Yeah, I totally understand you on the talent disparity part. So if you look at just the recruiting classes, they've been consistently good. The problem at USA has been more the upper management, and of course Clay Helton at coach has been very, very iffy. Their AD resigned this week, so
Lynn Swan.
Lynn Swan, they're kind of hurting a little bit as a family, so I like the fact that you like just the better players to rally together and cover that 4 numbers. Not that big a number at home.
Yeah.
Should be good.
If you're going to give me better talent and only 4 points, I'm going to take that one. All right, so let's move over to the NFL. NFL, we were 3-1.
4-1 in the Super
4-1
Contest.
this week in the NFL. Oh, yeah, very nice. That's right.
4-1 in the Super Contest,
Yeah,
baby.
and that contest is super, let me tell you this one. But we got a bunch of selections here this week as well. You want to talk about Oakland and Kansas City, because Oakland is a crazy team. I don't know how many people would have picked Oakland even to beat Denver last week and cover the spread.
So Oakland, they've got a lot of new offensive weapons around Carr. We were kind of waiting to see. We actually did like Oakland last week, didn't like it enough to put it in just because it was one of those wait and sees for us. And as a handicapper, you never really want to wade into too unknown waters because there's no reason to. There's plenty of games out there. There's plenty of matchups you can find those numbers in. There's no reason to get into unknown territory. But now that we've seen it for a week, we've seen what Carr's going to do with some of these new weapons. Waller, that tight end that they picked up, he's kind of a rehab project. Williams, they just got him, new wide receiver. Jacobs, the rookie out of Alabama. But the biggest key to that game, the reason why they look so good against Denver, that offensive line, Chop, those tackles, those malign tackles, right? The worst right tackle in the history of professional football last year per Pro Football Focus, right? He looked awesome. He stoned everybody. Brown on the other side, who they got from New England, he was supposed to be a throwaway. He came out and stonewalled him. Those two great defensive ends, you think about Miller and Chubb for Denver.
Nothing.
They got nothing.
Not even a QB hit. They didn't even touch Derek Carr the entire time.
So if they're going to play like that, Oakland is going to be a tough team offensively, and that's one thing that we think translates week to week is offensive line play. You might have a hot day for your quarterback, receiver might get open, but line play, that travels at all times. You flip to the other side, Kansas City, Tyreek Hill's out, definitely. Mahomes has been rumored about him kind of walking around in a boot, not in public sight, but kind of behind the scenes. We've heard some scuttlebutt about that.
Scuttlebutt, I like that term, scuttlebutt.
Yeah. And then the mustache, the great mustache of Gardner Minshew, ate that defense alive, baby. I think he set a rookie record last week for Jacksonville. I think we were like 22 for 25, a rookie record for accuracy for a minimum 20 attempts. That's insane. That's the first time out ever on a field. Then, if you look at where the numbers say they are, so Oakland, we had them coming in the season a 9-point dog on a neutral field to Kansas City, which still seems about right to us. They're catching 7 at home. They get 3 points. That's up to 10. But if you look at the way the numbers started, it started at 8.5. That got bet down very, very early to 7. It's about to go back up to 7.5, or actually has it gone back to 7.5.
It's already gone to 7.5.
Yeah, at MGM Mirage is at 7.5. But if you look at what moves the line early, that's sharp money, okay? That's not Joe Blow walking in Sunday night to the Bellagio and laying 10 dimes down and moving that line. That is sharp money that comes in Sunday night, early Monday morning, and then public moves the money later in the week. So the sharp money came down heavy on Oakland quick. Bet that number down from 8.5 to 7. That's always something you got to pay attention to when you're handicapping games, is which way that line moves early. That pretty much tells you who the people in the know in Vegas, which way they're leaning on it.
And one more note on Gardner Minshew. Okay, anybody who works out naked in a locker room in front of a group of other guys, it's my dude. That's my homie right there. Okay, I'm all in on Gardner. His dad named him Gardner the Second, even though there's no Gardner the First. Granddad wanted to name him Beowulf. Dude,
That's fantastic.
You don't make this up. This is Mississippi. That's where he's from. This is Mississippi in a nutshell. Obviously, he went out to Washington State, became a bit of a hippie out there, if you think. You see some of his outfits. He's Uncle Rico in the NFL. You got to love Gardner. We didn't take Jacksonville. We didn't touch Jacksonville this week against Houston. But one game I do want to touch on in the NFL, and I'm with you guys on Oakland plus 7.5. Cleveland minus 6.5 against the Jets. The Jets just lost their quarterback to mono. Okay, this is a virus that you get when you're 15, and they just lost their quarterback to mono. All right, so you got Baker Mayfield and the Browns rolling into Jet Life Stadium, rocking a $190,000 watch that OBJ is going to be wearing.
300,000.
Whatever it is, he's saying 190. I've seen it at 300,000. And then they're gonna do that. They're coming off a brutal, awful, disgusting loss against Tennessee. They are going to completely demolish the Jets as far as I'm concerned. The Jets have Trevor Siemian quarterback, and we've seen that. I've seen that movie before.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we've all seen that movie. Nobody likes that movie the way that movie ends, except bettors when you're going to bet against Trevor Siemian. Take the Browns, for me, minus 6.5. So that's what we got this week.
Yeah, man, and we're with you on Cleveland. Like we do like that play. If you look at the pre-season rankings where we had the teams and kind of where the adjustments are at, it fell about 7 points on Cleveland. So if you look at the adjustment down 4, but the market's corrected, it opened at 3.5. The news about Darnold's unfortunately first makeout injury, I guess, came down.
Never happens.
And it went back to 6.5. That's right about where the market's at. So you're getting the line right about where the market says it should be. However, with the added motivation that you think of they're supposed to be Super Bowl contenders. They got waxed by 30
at home.
At home. Yeah. So love that motivation on the road.
And they got the Rams the following week. I mean,
it's a must win.
There is no bigger must win for the Brownies. So Browns minus 6.5, Oakland plus 7.5, Clemson minus 28. I got USC minus 4. I'll have some more picks at RJ Choppy. You can obviously go to the website, the footballgloryhole.com website, and sign up. But listen, the point is, this is a system that has worked for a couple of years now. And for as long as these guys have been doing it, it has worked. And as the year goes on, the more information you get, it becomes more and more, I don't want to say foolproof, but it becomes better as the year goes on, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just becomes more accurate, and plus you get a better read on, right now we have to sift through what numbers say, combine them with trends, combine them with a little common sense, like you said, trap game, must-win game, kind of how the schedule goes. As we go further and further into it, we rely more and more on the data, less and less on conjecture. So
it's perfect. All right, so we're gonna have all these picks, like I said, on my Twitter at RJ Choppy, at FBallGloryHole on Twitter, and then you have a podcast as well.
Yep, the Football Glory Hole podcast. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, that's it for us here on the Degenerate Football Podcast, episode number 2. We love it. We dominated last week. 6-4-1 for me, 15-10 for them. Rocking and rolling for the year. This will be back next week, as always, at RJ Choppy, at FBallGloryHole. For Bo, I'm RJ. See you, boys, girls, ladies, men.